Hi everyone, this is DeTracy Regula back again for a little midnight rite, and tonight I'm going to be exploring a little bit about Minoan dream techniques, dreams from the ancient society of the Minoans, which was based on the great Greek island of Crete. The Cretans would probably right now be going, it is not Greek, it is Cretan, because they're very careful to make that distinction. And this wild and beautiful island is very near and dear to my heart, and they have some very interesting dream techniques that we're going to be discussing in just a moment. So, thank you for joining me tonight. This is a little special bonus add-on to our convocation of the Temple of Isis here at Isis Oasis Sanctuary in Geyserville, California. And I occasionally do what we call the Midnight Rite, which is one of the 4 daily rites which were practiced in the ancient temples of Egypt. And those are dawn, midday, which we do 5 days a week publicly, and then the evening rite, and then the midnight rite. And these 4 points of connection with the divine were part of the daily cycle in ancient Egypt. And we try to continue that process. Most of us do a morning prayer as part of the first rite of the day, and many of us also do a blessing at dinner, which is kind of the evening rite time. And then we do our noon rite and sometimes our midnight rite. So anyway, I'm so glad to see that there's a number of you here, and we will be enjoying a little special version of our midnight rite tonight. If you've ever asked what's right for tonight, well, you can say it's the midnight rite. That's exactly what's right for tonight. And I'm just looking for a paper that I normally have here, but we may not find that. Things have gotten into a little bit of delightful disarray as we are putting together this major convocation event. And you're more than welcome to look into joining us for the rest of the weekend. We have some really magnificent speakers, and you can find out all about that by following the link on the Isis Oasis Sanctuary Facebook page. And you can either purchase a ticket, which is great because it is a fundraiser for our temple and our Isis Oasis Sanctuary property here, or you can request a scholarship, and we grant those freely. So no one's turned away for lack of funds. All right, well, I'm just kind of chattering on to let people have a chance to join us tonight, and I'm still looking for that paper, but I am not seeing it, so we may have to do without. Just check up here. No. Okay. All right. And what I'd like to begin with first is a little honoring for dreams that was written by Our Lady Lorion. And she created many different ways of honoring the directions for different purposes. And it's very interesting because she actually did 2 of them that were honoring the directions for dreams. And so I think that she was well aware of how important it could be to kind of create a safe container to go to sleep within. And that is, one of the reasons that she took it on herself to do not just 1, but 2 honorings of the directions for dreams. And so I'm calling this one up right now. And we will begin. So get comfortable. You can project yourself into the corners if you like, or you can stand up and go corner by corner by corner, which is fine, or you can just sit and listen to them. And this is Lady Lorian's invocation of the directions for dreaming through different goddesses. So, including our uh, patron goddess for this event, Sekhmet. To the east, may we ask the goddess Ma'at to bring us dreams that will inspire us and bring new life into our waking hours. To the south, may we ask the goddess Sekhmet to bring us dreams that will enhance our passions for love and creativity in our waking hours. To the west, may we ask the goddess Hathor to bring us dreams that will give us the wonders of intuition and divine beauty in our waking hours. And to the north, may we ask the goddess Isis to bring us dreams that will invoke magic that will create everything we would wish for in our waking hours. Yes, dreams can foretell the future, can give us guidance, can be signals to be aware of or signs to follow. Pay attention to your dreams and be amazed how they fit into your life. And so now let us do the midnight song, which Lady Lorian created. It is midnight, time to go to sleep and dream. Dreams are never what they seem. We must dwell upon what they mean. It is midnight when you wake at sunrise. Take the time to analyze, for your dreams are very wise. It is midnight. It is midnight. It is midnight. So, almost every major culture spent time paying attention to dreams. And it's my personal belief that in times, less technological times, when survival was a much shakier thing, um, there was an edge that good dreaming could give to us. That if someone had a dream that you would find the herd here that you were hunting and you were correct, that could become a very valuable and even life-saving intuition. And in cultures that still value dreaming and are still closer to the hunter-gatherer way of life, they often have extremely complex and sophisticated dream systems. And I believe it's because those dreams were right enough of the time that it actually gave a distinct advantage to listen to the dreams, to pay attention to what your other tribal members are experiencing, to see the things that are kind of coming up within your dream group, which can be very fascinating for us in modern times as well. And so every culture had certain approaches to dreaming, and the ancient Minoan culture was no different. Now, there's a lot of controversy as to whether the ancient Minoan culture was really as female-centered as it seems to be, and there's a lot of speculations which probably can't be fully well-founded or accepted. But certainly we know that from the art that has survived, because we do not have a translated written language for the earliest periods of ancient Minoan Crete, so we cannot find out what they said. Almost all of our information on what we call Minoan Crete comes from much later via Greek sources, and after there was an invasion of Crete by northern peoples from the rest of Greece, and the impact on the culture is still being debated. So we have to look at the imagery, and a lot of the imagery is very dreamlike in and of itself. The seal stones will, reveal floating goddesses, unusual objects in a starry sky, all sorts of things that are really challenging to interpret, but seem to indicate that they definitely were putting into their art direct mystical experiences that they had knowledge of. And one thing that has come forward from Minoan Crete, and people say, oh, that's named after King Minos, let's call it something else. Well, I'm not so sure that King Minos started out as a king. Personally, the syllable mean or min or men can refer to women's mysteries as much as it can refer to masculine energies. And that's why we have things like the word menstruation and many other words pertaining to measuring, which usually derive from observing the moon phases. The word moon itself contains that M and N in it. So for the time being, I'm sticking with Minoan civilization. If we do ever get to translate some of the mysterious languages of ancient Crete and come up with a little bit more information on that, then I'll be glad to change it. But for the time, we'll stick with Minoan Crete. One thing that is known is that from very early times, the Minoans traded some of the bounty of the island of Crete. And this bounty was especially evident in the flowers and other plant products of the island. And even today, on the island of Crete, the essential oils derived from the herbs are more potent, more powerful. The plants actually produce more of them because the land is harsh and everything gets very, very concentrated. And what survives is powerful. And many of these surviving plants only grow on the island of Crete, at least in modern times. And I believe that the ancient Cretans had a very high level understanding of their powers and abilities that they could derive from the plants. We know that they were aware of the power of the poppy, for example. There's a wonderful goddess statue that has poppies as her headdress, and certainly those are related to mystical sleep. But that was not the only potential herb from ancient Crete that was used in sleep. Another one is called dittany of Crete. And this is a fleshy, round-leafed little plant that tends to like to grow in high places and clinging even to cliffs. And so gathering dittany was actually a dangerous endeavor, but it was considered so essential that they would, take great risks in gathering it. And some of those risks are still followed by some Cretan families today. But the special property of dittany, it was supposed to be very good on healing wounds and so on, but it also could induce very powerful dreams. And you can drink it as a tea if you obtain it. Try to get it from Crete because it is said not to travel well, and if at all possible, to get it wild crafted. Because it also is said to lose its properties if you try to keep it in a pot. So it likes its wildlife, and if you're lucky enough to get some good dittany, even a very mild dittany tea can be a lovely way to go to sleep and enter into the world of dreams. Now, if you want to sweeten it, then I highly recommend that you have some good Cretan honey to do so, because there again, Crete has its own special species of bee, and they make magnificent honey that is believed to give you special strength. And it goes beautifully with some dittany of Crete tea. One other practice that has come down to us from ancient times in the island of Crete was that it was said that if you left a pebble out by your door, that would tell Morpheus, the god of sleep, that you wanted a dream. And we don't have any more detail about exactly what kind of pebble it would be, but the pebbles in the island of Crete are extremely distinctive, and it's said that someone who really knows the waters of Crete will be able to look at a handful of pebbles and tell you what beach they came from. And I know from my own experience of gathering pebbles on many beaches in Crete that this is very true. Each beach has kind of its own array Certain colored pebbles will be more abundant on one beach than on another beach. Pebbles of a certain size will tend to be from one beach rather than a different one. So choose a pebble that you are attracted to, a little stone from where you live or from a special beach that you love, whether it's on Crete or not, and put it outside your door with intention and see what dreams may come to you because of that. And I also think that one could have that same pebble under the pillow or to be held in the hand. I must share with you, however, don't go too far with this in terms of getting a big stone to sleep with, because I had one that I called my teddy stone at one point, and I love I love the energy of stones, and it can be very helpful and very healthy. You can use stones in many different ways when you're sleeping. Um, but in one particular case, my stone was in my bed covers. I turned over and managed to completely bonk myself on the head with it. It was a fairly big one. So I recommend that you don't get a pebble that's much bigger than that, if that, and see if that assists you in traveling into the realms of sleep. But the actual Cretan practice is just to leave it by the door. The Cretans may be wise in this as they are in many other things. And I think you could take it one step further by, associating colors with the type of dream that you might want to be brought. Which could be, a bright white dream maybe for insight, or a reddish pebble for, passion or love, or a dark pebble to take away something negative or help you work through something negative in your dreams. So there's a couple of little practices, dream tea and the dream pebble, that are derived from ancient Minoan Crete, and I share those with you tonight. So I'm going to go back to where I think I am hopefully still broadcasting. Yes. Oh, hi, Claudine, you're here. Great. And Marky, oh, good, 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 good. We've got some people that are communicating with the comments, and that's an excellent way if you have something that you want to say to me or ask me. And uh, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're having our annual convocation right now, and you can join us for the next 2.5. The half is actually more close to a full day, for all of Saturday and Sunday and well into Monday. We have a number of incredible lectures going on Zoom, and I can give you the Zoom access code if you wish to join us for that. And I'll be very happy to see all of you there. And let me just this. Hi, Claudine. It's so good to see you. Claudine is Claudine Prieto is in my little audience tonight, and he's a magnificent metaphysical writer from Brazil, and has hosted me down there in Brazil on a couple of wonderful occasions, and has, I think, well over a dozen books on magical subjects, and is one of the best-selling authors in Brazil, not just in metaphysical subjects, but just best-selling, period. So, and a wonderful, wonderful person. So thank you for stopping by tonight. I really appreciate that. And so, anyway, I'd like to open this up. If anyone does have any questions or something that I can address, this is a good moment to do so. And I love spending these midnight moments. I have always been a night person from the time I was a small child, which was rather a little bit frustrating to my family, though they tended to stay up fairly late anyway, too. Um, and so I always was one that stayed up late and got up late. Um, and that seems to be my most natural pattern. I was born at night, so I think that perhaps those of us who are born at night tend to be more awake at night because our first awakening on this planet took place in the nighttime hours, and so I think that does shift us a bit. And it's very interesting because through dream and sleep studies, they've found that, universally, wherever you live on the planet, the morning hours tend to be very good ones for dreaming. And it's not really clear why this is, but many people have their best dreams when they are actually sleeping into the morning hours, So 7, 8, 9 a.m. times when most people are jumping out of bed can actually be very, very rich in dream life. So that's something to think of if you're trying to encourage yourself to dream. It may be that you're trying to get yourself up too early. And one of the fascinating things about this whole COVID-19 crisis is that around the world people are having more intense dreams. There's certain types of dreams that are becoming more common, and many people that really haven't been reporting or noticing their own dreams for years are now exploring dreams somewhat against their will. And in many cases, it's because they've been deprived of sleep for so many years that they've gotten out of the habit of dreaming. And now, with the shift in things, as people work at home and are on alternate schedules and have a little bit more natural control over their schedule, they're finding that people are dreaming more. And one of the things I've noticed in my own dreams from the COVID-19 crisis period is that I frequently am dreaming and including things like social distancing and masks and so on. And I'm kind of disappointed at that, actually, because we have so many new restrictions put on us in everyday real life. It would be nice if I were, a little bit more liberated in my sleep hours. But, no, I'm pausing before going through that dream portal, looking to see if I have a mask and things like that. So hopefully, as this crisis eases, I will lose my need to do that too. So, alrighty. Well, it's good to see everyone, and I hope that I will see you again tomorrow at some of our wonderful lectures. Just a few highlights. We have Max Dashu of the Suppressed Histories Archive. She's been writing for decades on feminist subjects and on the reemergence of the goddesses and also the suppression of many goddess images in many, many different cultures. She's really brilliant, and so we're having her. We're having Norman D. Ellis, who is the author, among other books, the book Dreams of Isis, and she is speaking on Egyptian hieroglyphs as interpreted in a much more spiritual and meaningful way than we sometimes get. And she's brilliant at that too, and I can't wait to explore that. Linda Isles will be talking on Sekhmet, and Michael Poe from the Church of the Eternal Source will also be discussing Ptah. So we really have some wonderful people. Don't miss it if you can. While it is a fundraiser for our temple, we have scholarships available, and you can self-choose that. Tickets for our event are on Eventbrite, and that's event with a B-R-I-T-E, Eventbrite, and we'll be happy to have you with us. So, okay. Oh, hi. And that's a very good question. Haya is asking any tips for capturing highlights of a dream, or are the tiny details also important to capture? And this is interesting because this came up in a dream course that I was taking recently, taught by Robert Moss, about how the dream fragments are extremely important, and they also can often be your entryway back into the major fabric of the dream. So don't ignore what you remember. If the tiny details are all you have, then really pounce on them. But dreams are kind of holographic in a way. And you will find, if you're focusing even on something that seems a little trivial from a dream, that the more you dive into it, it's like the dream then opens out from that. It's almost like your focus goes down like a hourglass, where your focus goes down onto this little tiny detail and you don't think it's going to lead anywhere, and then suddenly it opens up into the hourglass shape and you find yourself back in the dream in a much more meaningful way. So everything that you have in a dream can be potentially important. But trying to track back those narrative threads can be challenging. One thing that I found helpful on something like this is when you are dreaming when you're preparing to dream, to kind of give yourself the suggestion that at important moments in the dream you will remember those. And your dream memory will try to comply with that. And it's you don't necessarily go completely lucid at those moments, but you can almost feel a physical shift as you grow more attentive to something that seems to be important. And this doesn't always work. I think we've all had the experience of starting to dream and having something fantastic come through in a dream, and you kind of tell yourself in sleep, again, perhaps not without completely getting lucid, that you go, oh, I'm going to remember that, I'm going to remember that. And then you may not, but you may what's really painful is you may remember that you thought you were going to remember something. And I've had that situation where you go into it very deeply and just go, oh, I know, I was remembering something, and in some cases you may actually think that you got up and remembered it and interacted and then fell back to sleep. And there's also the phenomena of multiple awakenings, which can be very interesting and a little daunting, because are we really awake right now, or are we just not quite at that point of awakening? Oh, and Claudine's asking, what book about dream incubation do you recommend? There are many good books on dreams, and as I mentioned, I just recently discovered Robert Moss, and in my own efforts to re-explore dreams of late, he has like 13 or 14 books out, and they all look very excellent. I've got them on their way to me, but having been through his shift course, I can't imagine his books being anything but excellent. But I don't know one that's specifically about dream incubation. There are some scholarly articles and writings, academia or JSTOR. If you do a search on dreams, you'll probably come up with some of them for that. But I don't know one just off the top of my head about dream incubation. We have actually done dream incubation here at Isis Oasis Sanctuary in our Grand Temple, where we set out cots in a circle, and then have done dream tea, and then spent the night in the temple with someone sitting up all night. So just to keep an eye on everything, both physically and energetically. And so we have had that kind of exploration, and we may do that again sometime soon as I continue to go back into exploring the world of dreams. And for me, dreams were very, very crucial because my earliest metaphysical guidance came to me in dreams. And I had a series of very intense initiatory dreams when I was quite young. And while I was fortunate in growing up in a family that was not completely opposed to psychic things and so on, although they were nominally Christian, there wasn't, it wasn't exactly like I had someone in the house that was, training me or teaching me these things. And so when I started having spontaneous astral projection experiences, as well as lucid dreaming and, dream encounters and everything, there really wasn't anyone anywhere that could assist me or explain it. But that actually turned out to be very important for my growth. Because when I did later, several years passed, because this started when I was about 10, when I, began to find materials on things like astral projection and lucid dreaming and so on, I knew that they were true. It wasn't theoretical. It was me finding something outside of me that exactly confirmed an experience that I had had independently without any, family associations with these things, without any, guidance that this could even happen. Um, I was, so that put me on a firmer footing, I think, moving forward with exploring the mystical side of things, because I knew what had happened to me in a basically pure state, that no one had told me this was possible, and yet there it was, and now here's this book on the shelf describing exactly what happened to me in every detail. So I was able to go forward confidently that some of this mystical buju wuju was absolutely true and matched my own personal experience, which was separate from any outside influence that I was aware of, certainly. So it's very interesting. Claudia, I think you're going to have to write that book about dream incubation. Maybe we can collaborate on it. So anyway, I think for most of us, I mean, Claudia, I think you might be up early and starting your day, and Sandra, I know you're in Hawaii, so it's you're probably at the crack of dawn, um, and seeing a beautiful Hawaiian sunrise, or close to seeing that. Um, so the rest of us, I think, are trying to get some sleep before our busy day tomorrow with the convocation lectures, which will be beginning. And so, if there's nothing else, I think we will say goodnight now and go into sweet dreams. Put yourself in bed in a comfortable position. Often, when I'm trying to dream, I just lay myself out flat on my back with maybe just like a little towel or even a pillowcase that's been rolled up beneath my neck. I just kind of straighten myself out and go into the first phase of sleep that way. And I find that that's helpful for inducing the hypnagogic state where you're kind of seeing things in your closed, against your closed eyelids. And then as you go deeper into sleep, of course, you can turn onto one side or the other and continue dreaming. All right. Well, Goddess bless you all. I hope you have fantastic dreams. It often helps that you do focus on dreams and then you go try to dream. You may find that you get a little bit further than you thought, because you've sort of primed yourself for dreaming right now. So have that pad and paper right by you. I like to use a pencil because I don't have to worry about the pen not writing or running out of ink or forgetting to click it or whatever. You can just grab that pencil and scribble as best you can. Try to make it legible enough that you'll be able to read it later, and then start recording those details. And dream journals are so important, and they were actually used in the initiatory practices of ancient Egypt. We have some dream books and dream journals of students of the temple that were required to keep track of their dreams and to share them with their ordaining clergy person so they could see that they are on the right track in their sleep. So may we all be on the right tracks in our sleep, and may they take us to wonderful places in a protected way and help us share in many amazing experiences. And who knows, often when people are working on dreams together and talking about dreams, they find themselves sharing dreams too, which can be a very interesting experience too. So if keep an eye out for all of us in our dreams tonight. And I usually do one of these midnight rites about once a week, often on a Friday night or a Saturday, because I know people might have the chance to sleep in a little bit more in the morning. And I hope to see you tomorrow in the convocation lectures as well. So Goddess bless and sweet dreams. Oh, one last thing. One last thing. I haven't done the Goodnight Goddess song, so we'll do that. Good night, goddess of the night. Good night, goddess of starlight. Good night, goddess, furrow your wings. Good night, Isis, of all things. Good night, goddess, hold me tight. Good night, goddess of starlight. Good night.